crawl. Pick it up. $80 scattered across wet concrete outside a Texas high school gymnasium. A 17-year-old girl in a wheelchair forced to watch as 3 football players kicked her birthday money into a mud puddle while 200 students filmed and laughed. The principal watched from his window. He turned away. But exactly 47 minutes later, the parking lot began to shake. 18 Harley-Davidsons thundered through those school gates. And when their leader saw Lily's face, he dropped to his knees and whispered, "My God, you're Sarah's little girl." Before we begin, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your words inspire us to keep telling these stories. Now, let's begin. Lily Morgan's hands were shaking before she even touched the front door of Ridgemont High School. She sat in her wheelchair on the concrete ramp, watching students stream past her like she was invisible. Some of them stepped around her. Others pretended she wasn't there at all. And a few, the ones she had learned to watch for, made sure to bump her chair as they passed. "Move it, Wheels." Lily didn't look up. She had learned that lesson 2 years ago, in the first month after the accident. Making eye contact only invited the cruelty that came next. She gripped her wheels and pushed herself forward. 2 years. 731 days since the crash that killed her mother and stole Lily's ability to walk. 731 days of learning that the world was not designed for people like her. Not the sidewalks, not the buildings, not the people inside them. Lily. Hold up. Rosa Martinez appeared at the side entrance, waving a mop like a flag. The school janitor was 63 years old, 5 feet tall, and the only adult in this entire building who treated Lily like a human being. "You're early today, mija." "Couldn't sleep." Lily managed a small smile. "Bad dreams." Rosa's eyes softened. She had kind eyes, the kind that had seen too much suffering to judge anyone else's. "Your mama again." Lily nodded. She didn't trust her voice. "She's watching over you." Rosa squeezed Lily's shoulder. "I believe that with my whole heart. The ones who love us never really leave." "I wish I could believe that, Rosa." "You will. Someday." Rosa glanced around, then lowered her voice. "Listen to me. Stay away from the gymnasium today. Trent and his crew are setting up for the pep rally. They've been talking about you." Lily's stomach clenched. "What are they saying?" "Nothing worth repeating. Just keep your head down, okay? Get to class. Stay in the library during lunch. Avoid them." "I've been avoiding them for 2 years. They always find me." Rosa's face hardened. "Then today you hide better." She hurried away, leaving Lily alone at the entrance. Lily watched her go, feeling the familiar weight of helplessness settle into her chest. Hide better. Run away faster. Keep your head down. Don't make waves. That was the advice she got from everyone. Her father, when he was sober enough to notice she existed. Her teachers, who couldn't be bothered to file the paperwork for another bullying report. Even Rosa, who loved her, couldn't offer anything more than survival strategies. Lily touched the envelope in her jacket pocket. $80. Her birthday money from Aunt Clara in Houston, the only relative who still sent cards. She had been saving for 18 months now, scraping together every penny she could find. $1,200 so far. Another $300, and she would have enough for the specialized wheelchair that could handle the broken sidewalks of this godforsaken town. Freedom. That's what this money represented. The chance to go places without depending on anyone. The chance to outrun the people who wanted to hurt her. She pushed through the front doors. The hallway stretched before her, a gauntlet of lockers and teenage cruelty. Lily kept her eyes forward, her jaw tight. She had learned long ago that showing fear only made it worse. Predators could smell fear. Trent Holloway had taught her that. "Hey, wheelchair girl." Lily's blood froze. Trent Holloway stood at the end of the hallway, his arm draped around his girlfriend, Madison. Two of his teammates flanked him like loyal dogs, Jackson Reed and Marcus Pope. The three of them had made Lily's life a living nightmare since the day she rolled through these doors. Trent was 18 years old, the starting quarterback, and the only son of Marcus Holloway Sr., the man who owned half the oil rigs in West Texas. His father's money had bought this town. His father's influence had silenced every complaint Lily had ever filed. And his father's lawyers had threatened Lily's own father into dropping the one lawsuit that might have made a difference. "What's the rush, Wheels?" Trent called out. "You got somewhere to be." Lily didn't answer. She turned her chair toward the side hallway, toward the accessible bathroom where she could lock the door and wait them out. "Hey, I'm talking to you." Footsteps, fast ones. Jackson Reed stepped in front of her, blocking her path. He was 6'4", 240 pounds, and he thought cruelty was a personality trait. "Trent asked you a question." "I have class." Lily's voice came out steadier than she felt. "Please move." "Please move," Jackson mimicked in a high-pitched voice. "You hear that, Trent?" She said please, like she's a person or something. Trent strolled over, taking his time. He crouched down so he was eye level with Lily, and she could smell the cologne he wore, expensive and suffocating. "You know what today is, Wheels? Tuesday. It's pep rally day." Trent smiled, and there was nothing behind it. No warmth, no humor, nothing human at all. "The whole school's going to be in that gymnasium, cheering for me, because I'm going to lead this team to state. You know what you're going to be doing?" Lily said nothing. "You're going to be sitting in the corner like you always do, invisible, forgotten, because that's what you are, Wheels. Nothing." Madison giggled. "Babe, leave her alone. She's pathetic enough already." "I'm just being friendly." Trent stood up. "Aren't I being friendly, Wheels?" "Crystal." "Good." Trent started to walk away, then stopped. He turned back, his eyes narrowing. "Hey, what's that in your pocket?" Lily's hand instinctively went to her jacket. The envelope. She had forgotten to hide it. "Nothing. Doesn't look like nothing." Trent took a step closer. "Looks like money. Jackson, what do you think?" "Definitely looks like money." "Give it here." "No." The word came out before Lily could stop it. Trent's smile disappeared. "What did you say to me?" "I said no. It's mine. Everything in this school is mine. My daddy pays more taxes than everyone else's parents combined. That makes everything here my property, including you. You can't just take people's money, Trent. That's called robbery. It's called whatever I say it's called." Trent grabbed the handles of her wheelchair and spun her around so fast she nearly fell out. "Now let's see what you're hiding." "Get your hands off me, or what you gonna walk away?" Jackson laughed at his own joke. "Oh wait, you can't." Lily tried to wheel herself backward, but Marcus Pope had moved behind her, blocking her escape. She was surrounded. 3 football players and a girlfriend who watched with the bored expression of someone who had seen this show 100 times. "Please." Lily hated the word as soon as it left her mouth. "Please, Trent. It's my birthday money. It's all I have." "Birthday money? Aw, that's sweet. When's your birthday, Wheels?" "It was last week." "And nobody gave you a party? That's sad." Trent reached into her pocket and pulled out the envelope. $80. "That's it. Your family must really not give a damn about you." "Give it back." "I don't think I will." Trent opened the envelope and thumbed through the bills. "You know what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to buy Madison something pretty, something you'll never be." Tears burned behind Lily's eyes. She would not cry. Not in front of them. Not ever. My mother died. The words came out raw, desperate. That money is the only thing I got for my birthday. The only thing. For just a moment, something flickered across Trent's face. Something that might have been human. Then it was gone. Your mother died because she was driving a piece of crap car in a thunderstorm. My dad says if poor people didn't make poor decisions, they wouldn't be poor. He stuffed the money in his pocket. Consider this a lesson in economics. I can do whatever I want, and you can't do anything about it. Trent leaned close, his breath hot on her face. You're nothing, Wheels. You have nothing. You are nothing. The sooner you accept that, the easier your pathetic little life is gonna be. He straightened up and walked away. Jackson and Marcus followed, laughing. Madison didn't even look back. Lily sat in the empty hallway, her hands trembling on her wheels. $80. 18 months of hoping. Gone in 30 seconds. And nobody had done anything. 3 teachers had walked past during the confrontation. All of them had kept walking. One had actually made eye contact with Lily before quickly looking away. This was her life. This was her world. And nothing was ever going to change. The first bell rang. Lily wiped her eyes with the back of her hand and wheeled herself toward class. 4 hours later, Lily sat in the cafeteria staring at a tray of food she couldn't afford. She had spent her lunch money weeks ago stretching it as far as it would go. Now she was down to whatever she could salvage from the free breakfast table, and today that meant a bruised apple and a carton of milk that was probably past its expiration date. Rosa slid into the seat across from her. You look terrible, Mija. Thanks. Trent, Lily nodded. She couldn't talk about it. Not yet. What did he take this time? My birthday money. All of it. Rosa's face went still in that way it did when she was trying very hard not to say something she would regret. Did you tell anyone? Who would I tell Principal Harrison? He plays golf with Trent's father. The counselor. She told me last time that I need to find ways to avoid conflict situations. There has to be someone. There isn't. Lily pushed the apple away. There's never anyone. I've been here 2 years, Rosa. I've filed 11 reports. 11. You know what happened? Nothing. Every single time. Because Trent's father donates $100,000 to this school every year, and nobody is going to risk that money to help the crippled girl nobody cares about. Rosa reached across the table and took Lily's hand. I care about you. You can't protect me. You can't even protect yourself. If Holloway found out you were helping me, you'd lose your job. Some things are more important than jobs. Not in this town. The cafeteria doors burst open. Trent walked in with his entourage riding a wave of cheers from half the student body. He scanned the room until his eyes found Lily, and he smiled that empty smile. The pep rally is in an hour, Rosa said quietly. You should go home. Call in sick. I can't. Attendance policy. 3 more absences and I fail the semester. Then hide somewhere. The library. My supply closet. Anywhere but that gymnasium. Rosa, promise me, Mija. Promise me you'll stay away from them. Lily looked at Trent, still laughing with his friends, still holding court like the king of a very small kingdom. Her $80 were probably already spent. Her dignity was already gone. What else could he possibly take? I promise, she said. She broke that promise 63 minutes later. It wasn't her fault. The pep rally was mandatory. Teachers were stationed at every exit to make sure no one left early. Lily tried to stay in the back corner of the gymnasium, tried to make herself as small and invisible as possible. But Trent had other plans. "Ladies and gentlemen," the principal's voice boomed through the speakers, "let's hear it for your Ridgemont Raiders." The gymnasium exploded with cheers. The football team ran through a paper banner, helmets held high. Cheerleaders cartwheeled across the polished floor. The marching band played the fight song loud enough to shake the bleachers. Lily watched from her corner, feeling like an alien, observing a ritual she would never understand. This was their world. The beautiful people. The able-bodied people. The people who belonged. She would never belong anywhere. "And now," Principal Harrison continued, "let's hear from our team captain, the young man who's going to lead us to state, Trent Holloway." More cheers. Trent jogged to center court, grabbed the microphone, and raised his fist like a conquering hero. "Raiders, are we ready to crush Central Valley on Friday?" The crowd roared. "I can't hear you. Are we ready? Louder. That's what I'm talking about." Trent paced the court like a predator. "You know what makes us different from every other team in this district? We don't just play football. We are football. We breathe it. We bleed it. We live it." The students stomped their feet in rhythm. The bleachers shook. "And nothing," Trent continued, "nothing is going to stand in our way. Not Central Valley. Not the weather. Not anything." He was good at this. Lily had to admit. He had the charisma of a born performer, the confidence of someone who had never been told no in his entire life. If you didn't know what he was really like, you might even admire him. "But you know what?" Trent's voice dropped lower. "We've got something else that makes us special. We've got spirit. Real school spirit. The kind that means we take care of our own." Where was he going with this? "And today," Trent said, "I want to show you what that spirit looks like. I want to introduce you to someone special." No, he wouldn't. Someone who needs our support. Someone who's been through a lot. Someone who lost her mother in a terrible accident 2 years ago. No, 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 no. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big Raiders welcome to Lily Morgan. A spotlight swung toward her corner. 800 faces turned to look at her, and Lily felt her entire world collapse. "Come on, Lily." Trent beckoned her with exaggerated warmth. "Don't be shy. We want to show you some Raiders love." She shook her head, tried to back away, but the students around her were already pushing her forward, propelling her wheelchair toward the center of the court. "There she is." Trent clapped his hands. "Let's hear it for Lily." The crowd applauded, but there was something wrong with it, something mocking underneath the surface. Lily could see the smirks, the phones being raised, the anticipation of whatever was about to happen. This was a trap. She had walked right into it. "Now," Trent said, putting his arm around her shoulders like they were old friends. "I know Lily's had a rough time, losing her mom, the wheelchair, all of it, and I've been thinking about how we could help." Lily tried to wheel backward. Trent's hand tightened on her shoulder, holding her in place. "So the football team took up a collection. We wanted to give Lily a little something to brighten her day." Jackson and Marcus walked forward, each holding a fistful of cash. But something was wrong. The bills were crumpled dirty, and as Lily looked closer, she realized they were soaking wet. "Oops," Trent laughed as they dumped the money on the floor in front of her. "Looks like the rain got to it. Sorry about that, Wheels. But hey, money's money, right?" The gymnasium erupted in laughter. "Go ahead." Trent released her shoulder and stepped back. "Pick it up. It's all yours." Lily looked at the scattered bills, looked at the laughing faces, looked at Principal Harrison, who was watching from the side with an expression of mild discomfort, but making no move to intervene. "I said pick it up." Trent's voice lost its fake warmth. "Don't be rude. We went to all this trouble for you." "Trent," Madison tugged at his arm. "Maybe this is enough. I'll decide when it's enough." He turned back to Lily. "Pick it Up. The gymnasium had gone quiet. Even the laughter had stopped. Everyone was waiting to see what she would do. Lily's hands trembled on her wheels. She looked at the money soaked and dirty scattered across the floor like trash. She thought about the $80 Trent had already stolen from her. She thought about her mother who had died protecting her. She thought about all the times she had been told to keep her head down, stay invisible, avoid trouble. And something inside her broke. No, the word echoed through the silent gymnasium. What did you say? Trent's eyes narrowed. I said no. Lily's voice grew stronger. I'm not going to crawl on the ground for your entertainment. I'm not going to humiliate myself so you can feel powerful. And I'm not going to pretend this is anything other than what it is. And what exactly is it? Cruelty. Lily met his eyes. You're not a leader. You're a bully. And everyone in this room knows it. They're just too scared to say it. The silence stretched like a rubber band about to snap. Trent's face contorted with rage. He stepped closer, looming over her wheelchair. You think you can talk to me like that in front of everyone? Do you have any idea who I am? I know exactly who you are. You're the boy who has to tear other people down because there's nothing inside you worth building up. Trent grabbed the handles of her wheelchair and shoved. Hard. Lily toppled forward, spilling out of the chair and onto the gymnasium floor. Pain shot through her arms as she caught herself. Her palms scraped against the polished wood. The scattered money pressed into her skin. And still nobody moved. There you go. Trent stood over her. Now you're where you belong. On the ground. Like the nothing you are. He walked away. Jackson and Marcus followed. The crowd parted for them like water around stones. Lily lay on the floor, her cheek pressed against a crumpled $20 bill, and watched 800 people file out of the gymnasium without a single one offering to help her up. 47 minutes later, Lily sat alone in the parking lot, the scattered money collected in her lap. She hadn't counted it. Didn't want to. Whatever it added up to, it wasn't worth what she had just been through. Rosa had found her on the gymnasium floor and helped her back into her chair. Had tried to talk to her, comfort her, say something that would make it better. But there were no words. There was no comfort. There was only the cold truth that Lily had finally fully accepted. She was alone. She would always be alone. And nobody was coming to save her. Her phone buzzed. A text from her father. Where are you? Dinner's cold. She stared at the message. Dinner. Like she could eat. Like she could go home and pretend everything was normal. Like she could sit across from her father, who blamed her for the accident, and make small talk about the weather. She turned off her phone. The parking lot was empty now. Everyone had gone home to their families, their friends, their normal lives. Lily sat in the gathering dusk, feeling the cold settle into her bones. Maybe they were right. Maybe she was nothing. Maybe she should just accept it and stop fighting. And then she heard it. Distant at first. A low rumble like thunder on a clear day. Growing louder. Closer. The ground beneath her wheelchair began to vibrate. Lily looked up. They came around the corner like something out of a fever dream. 18 motorcycles in perfect formation, chrome, gleaming engines roaring. The sound was overwhelming, primal, the kind of noise that made your chest cavity hum. They rode straight toward her. Lily's hands tightened on her wheels. Every instinct told her to run, but there was nowhere to go. She couldn't run even if she wanted to. She was trapped again by a body that had already betrayed her in every way that mattered. The motorcycles pulled into the parking lot and formed a semicircle around her. One by one, the engines cut out. The silence that followed was almost louder than the noise had been. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then the leader climbed off his bike. He was enormous, 6'5" at least, with a gray beard that reached his chest and arms covered in faded tattoos. His leather vest bore the insignia that Lily had only ever seen in movies and cautionary tales. Hell's Angels. The 1%ers. The outlaws. He walked toward her with slow, deliberate steps. His boots clicked against the concrete. His eyes never left her face. Lily couldn't breathe. This was it. Whatever was coming, she couldn't stop it. She was helpless again, always. The man stopped 3 feet away from her wheelchair, and then he dropped to his knees. "My God," his voice cracked. "My God, you look just like her." Lily stared at him. "What? Your mother?" Tears spilled down the man's weathered cheeks. "Sarah. You look exactly like Sarah." "How do you know my mother's name?" The man reached out and took Lily's hand. His grip was gentle, impossibly gentle for hands that large. "Because she was my sister." He drew a shaking breath. "Your mother was wild, Sarah. She rode with us for 8 years. She was family, and that makes you family too." Lily's world tilted on its axis. "Your name is Lily, isn't it?" the man continued. "She talked about you all the time, her little miracle, the baby she gave everything up for." "I don't understand. My mother was a teacher. She was normal. She wasn't always." The man rose to his feet, but kept hold of her hand. "Before she met your father, before she had you, she was one of us. The bravest of us." The other bikers had dismounted now. 17 men and women in leather vests, all of them watching Lily with expressions she couldn't read. "Who are you?" Lily whispered. "My name is Brick Davidson." He smiled through his tears. "And I'm your uncle." Lily looked at this giant of a man, at the tears on his face, at the 18 motorcycles surrounding her like a fortress. Her mother had been a Hell's Angel. She had an uncle she never knew existed, and somehow, impossibly, they had found her. How was all she could manage. "How did you know where I was? Someone called us." Brick's jaw tightened. "Someone who's been watching over you. Someone who knew it was time for family to step in." He turned and raised his hand. A side door of the school opened, and Rosa Martinez stepped out into the fading light. "Rosa!" The janitor walked toward them, her eyes wet. "I knew your mama mija, a long time ago before she left the life. She helped my family when nobody else would. She saved my brother from men who wanted to kill him. I've been watching you for 2 years, watching them hurt you, watching nobody help." Rosa's voice hardened. "Today was the last straw. What they did to you in that gymnasium, I couldn't stay silent anymore. You called them. I called in a debt, a promise your mother made me swear to keep. If her daughter ever needed protection, I was supposed to reach out to her brothers and sisters." Lily looked at Brick, at Rosa, at the wall of bikers behind them. "What happens now?" she asked. Brick's expression shifted into something cold and hard and ancient. "Now," he said, "we have a conversation with the people who've been hurting our family." Somewhere in the distance, Lily heard the wail of police sirens approaching. Brick didn't even flinch. He just smiled. "Let them come." The police cruiser skidded into the parking lot with its lights blazing and siren wailing. Sheriff Dale Womack stepped out with his hand already on his holster, his eyes scanning the wall of motorcycles like he was counting threats. What in the hell is going on here? Brick didn't move from Lily's side. His hand remained on her shoulder, steady and warm, an anchor in the chaos. Evening, Sheriff. Nice night for a ride. Don't give me that. I got 6 calls in the last 10 minutes. People saying the Hells Angels are invading Ridgemont High School. Invading. Brick chuckled. We're visiting family. That against the law now. Womack's eyes flicked to Lily. She saw the recognition there, the calculation. He knew who she was. He knew who Trent was. And she could see him trying to figure out which side to take. This girl has a family. Her father's Ray Morgan, lives on County Road 12. I know where her father lives. I also know he's been drunk since 3 this afternoon, which means he's not in any shape to take care of anybody. Brick's voice hardened. So we're stepping in. Family takes care of family. You're not her family. That's where you're wrong. Brick reached into his vest and pulled out a folded photograph. He handed it to Womack. That's Sarah Morgan, 23 years ago. Recognize the woman standing next to her. Womack studied the photo. His face went pale. That's my wife. Your wife rode with the Hells Angels for 6 months in 1999. She left before you met her, just like Sarah left before she met Ray. Brick took the photo back. The point is, Sheriff, the past has a way of catching up. Sarah was my sister. This girl is my niece. And I've got 17 brothers and sisters behind me who feel the same way. Womack's hand dropped from his holster. This is Holloway territory. You know what that means? I know exactly what it means. It means you're scared. It means this whole town is scared. Brick stepped closer to the sheriff. But we're not from this town. We're not scared of anything, and we're not leaving until we're sure Lily is safe. For a long moment, neither man moved. Lily watched the standoff with her heart hammering against her ribs. She had never seen anyone stand up to authority like this. In Ridgemont, the Holloways controlled everything. The sheriff, the schools, the businesses. Nobody challenged them. Until now. I could arrest all of you, Womack said finally. Disturbing the peace. Trespassing. Take your pick. You could try. Brick smiled, and there was no warmth in it. But then your wife might have to answer some questions about her past, about the things she did before she became the respectable Mrs. Womack, about the blood on her hands. The sheriff's face went from pale to gray. You wouldn't. I don't want to. But if you push me, I'll push back. That's how it works. Now you can either let us take Lily somewhere safe, or you can make this ugly. Your choice. Womack looked at the bikers. He looked at Lily. He looked at Brick. Then he turned around and walked back to his cruiser. I was never here, he muttered. This never happened. The cruiser pulled away, its lights going dark. Lily watched it disappear around the corner and felt something shift inside her chest. Something that might have been hope. Did you really know his wife? She asked. Every word I said was true. Brick crouched down beside her wheelchair. Your mother saved a lot of people, Lily. Made a lot of friends. She also collected a lot of secrets. That's how she survived. That's how you're going to survive, too. I don't understand any of this. My mother was a teacher. She wore cardigans. She made casseroles for church potlucks. She was all of those things. And she was also Wild Sarah, the woman who once stared down a crooked sheriff in El Paso and made him cry. Brick's voice softened. People are complicated, sweetheart. Your mama was the most complicated person I ever knew. That's what made her special. Lily's eyes burned with tears she refused to shed. Why didn't she tell me? Why did I have to find out like this? Because she was trying to protect you. She left our world because she wanted something different for you. A normal life. A safe life. Brick shook his head. She thought if she buried her past deep enough, it would never touch you. She was wrong. She's dead because of me." The words came out before Lily could stop them. "She died in that car because she was driving me to a physical therapy appointment. If I hadn't needed—" "Stop." Brick's voice was sharp, but not unkind. "I know what happened in that car. Rosa told me everything. Your mother threw herself over you when the truck hit. She used her own body as a shield. How is that supposed to make me feel better? It's not. It's supposed to make you understand." Brick took her hand again. "Sarah didn't die because of you. She died for you. There's a difference. She made a choice in that moment. The same choice she would have made 1,000 times over, because that's who she was." Lily couldn't hold the tears back anymore. They spilled down her cheeks, hot and bitter. 2 years of grief she had been too numb to feel. 2 years of guilt she had been too broken to process. "I miss her so much." "I know." Brick pulled her into a hug. His arms were huge, his leather vest rough against her cheek. But the embrace was gentle. "I miss her too, every single day." They stayed like that for a long moment, the girl in the wheelchair and the biker who had appeared out of nowhere to claim her as family. Around them, the other Hell's Angels stood in respectful silence, their heads bowed. Finally, Brick pulled back. "We need to get you somewhere safe. There's a diner about 20 miles from here where the owner owes us a favor. We can talk there. Figure out what happens next." "I have to go home. My father can wait. Right now you need food and rest and people who are going to treat you like a human being." Brick stood up. "Rocky, bring the sidecar." A woman with silver hair and a face that looked like it had seen every road in America wheeled a motorcycle forward. Attached to it was a vintage sidecar painted black, with red flames along the side. "This was your mother's ride," Rocky said. "When she was pregnant with you, she couldn't handle the regular bike anymore. So we rigged this up for her. She kept it until the day she left." Lily stared at the sidecar. Her mother had sat in that very spot, had felt the wind in her hair, had been part of something bigger than herself. "Come on, little sister." Rocky extended her hand. "Let's get you out of here." Lily looked at Brick. "You promised to tell me everything about my mother, about who she really was." "Everything," Brick said. "Every story, every secret, everything she never had the chance to tell you herself." Lily reached out and took Rocky's hand. The convoy moved through the Texas night like a pack of wolves, following the scent of home. 18 motorcycles and 1 wheelchair, 1 lost girl, and 17 strangers who called themselves family. Lily sat in the sidecar, watching the world blur past her. The vibration of the engine traveled through her body, waking up parts of her that had been asleep for 2 years. She felt alive in a way she hadn't since before the accident. Her phone had buzzed 16 times in the last hour. All texts from her father, each one angrier than the last. "Where are you? Answer me right now. If you're not home in 10 minutes, I'm calling the police. You're just like your mother. Selfish. Thoughtless. This is why she's dead. Because of you." Lily turned off her phone and shoved it into her pocket. The diner appeared out of the darkness like an oasis. A neon sign flickered Marcy's, above a low-slung building with pickup trucks in the parking lot and Christmas lights still hanging from the awning, even though it was September. Brick pulled up to the front and cut his engine. The other bikers fell into formation behind him, their silence more powerful than words. "Marcy's been feeding strays for 40 years, Brick said as he helped Lily transfer from the sidecar to her wheelchair. "The human kind and the animal kind. She won't ask questions. Why not? Because she used to be one of us, before she got too old and too tired and too smart to keep riding." Brick smiled. "Plus her husband was the meanest son of a gun who ever wore our colors. When he died, she inherited all his debts and all his favors. We've been collecting on both ever since." They went inside. The diner was half full, mostly truckers and oil workers finishing late shifts. Every head turned when 18 bikers walked through the door with a teenager in a wheelchair. A woman in her 70s appeared from behind the counter. She had a face like cracked leather and eyes that had seen things Lily couldn't imagine. Brick Davidson, been a long time. Marcy, looking beautiful as ever. Don't sweet-talk me. You bring trouble every time you show up. Marcy's eyes found Lily. This Sarah's girl. Yes, ma'am. Marcy walked over to Lily's wheelchair and studied her face for a long moment. Then she bent down and kissed her forehead. You've got her eyes. Same fire. Same stubbornness. She straightened up. Come on. I've got a private room in the back. You can talk without every yahoo in this town listening in. The private room was small, but clean. Marcy brought coffee and sandwiches and pie, then disappeared without asking for payment. Lily sat at the head of the table surrounded by people she had never met, feeling safer than she had in years. All right, Brick said. Ask your questions. All of them. How did my mother join the Hells Angels? Brick leaned back in his chair. She was 17, running from a father who beat her and a mother who pretended not to see. She showed up at our clubhouse in El Paso with a black eye and a backpack and nowhere else to go. Her father beat her. Lily felt sick. Her grandparents had died before she was born. She had always imagined them as kindly, distant figures. He was a mean drunk. Sound familiar? The words hit Lily like a punch to the gut. Her father. Her mother's father. The same pattern repeating. I was 19 when she showed up, Brick continued. Just a prospect myself. But I saw something in her. This fire that wouldn't go out no matter how hard life tried to stomp on it. I vouched for her, brought her in, became her brother in every way that mattered. What did she do? In the club. Everything. She rode with us for 8 years. She fought beside us. Bled beside us. Brick's voice grew heavy. She also did things I won't tell you about. Things that needed doing but weren't pretty. That's the cost of belonging to something bigger than yourself. Bad things. Necessary things. There's a difference. Brick met her eyes. Your mother wasn't a saint, Lily. She wasn't a criminal either. She was a survivor. And survivors do what they have to do. Lily thought about the woman who had made her lunch every morning, who had read her bedtime stories, who had died with her arms wrapped around her daughter trying to absorb an impact she couldn't possibly survive. Why did she leave? Because of you. Rocky spoke up from her seat by the door. She found out she was pregnant and everything changed. She said she wanted her child to have choices she never had. She wanted you to grow up without fear. Fat lot of good that did. The bitterness in Lily's voice surprised her. I'm afraid every single day. I know. Brick reached across the table and took her hand. And I'm sorry. We should have found you sooner. Should have been watching over you. But Sarah made us promise to stay away. She said if we came near you, we would destroy everything she had built. She was wrong. She was trying to protect you the only way she knew how, by hiding her past, by pretending to be someone she wasn't. Brick shook his head. But the past doesn't stay buried. It always comes back. The door opened. A young biker with a shaved head stuck his face in. Brick, we got a problem. What kind of problem? The Holloway kind. Word travels fast in a small town. Marcus Holloway just found out there's 18 Hells Angels in his territory. He's on his way here with half the sheriff's department. Brick stood up. His expression had gone cold and hard again. How long? 20 minutes. Maybe less. That's not enough time. Rocky was already on her feet. We need to move. No. Lily's voice cut through the tension. I'm not running. Everyone turned to look at her. I've been running for 2 years, hiding, making myself invisible. And you know what it got me? She gestured at her wheelchair. This. Humiliation. Cruelty. A life that isn't worth living. Lily, Brick started. My mother ran away from the club because she thought it would keep me safe. But I'm not safe. I've never been safe. The only difference is that now I have people who might actually fight for me. She looked around the room at all of them. So either we stay and face this, or I go back to being the girl everyone ignores. Which is it going to be? For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Brick laughed, a real laugh, full and warm. God damn, you really are Sarah's daughter. Is that a yes? It's a hell yes. He turned to the others. You heard the lady. We're not running. Holloway wants to meet the family. Let's give him a proper introduction. The bikers began to move, spreading out through the diner with military precision. Doors were locked. Windows were secured. Marcy appeared with a shotgun that looked older than she was. Nobody messes with my diner, she said grimly. Lily sat in the middle of it all, her heart pounding but her hands steady. For the first time in 2 years, she didn't feel like a victim. She felt like part of something. 15 minutes later, the headlights appeared on the highway. 5 vehicles in a line. 3 sheriff's department cruisers and 2 black SUVs with tinted windows. They pulled into the parking lot and stopped, engines running, lights blazing. Brick walked out to meet them. Lily followed in her wheelchair, ignoring the protests of everyone around her. I have to be there, she said. This is about me. I need to face it. The driver's door of the lead SUV opened. A man in his 60s stepped out, wearing a suit that cost more than Lily's house. He had silver hair and a face that belonged on money. Everything about him radiated power. Marcus Holloway Sr. Behind him, more doors opened. Sheriff Womack, looking nervous. 3 deputies with their hands on their weapons. And finally, from the back seat of the second SUV, Trent Holloway himself. He was smiling. That same empty smile Lily had learned to fear. Well, well. Marcus Holloway's voice was smooth and cold. The circus has come to town. Mr. Holloway. Brick stood his ground. We haven't met. Name's Brick Davidson. I know who you are. I know what you are. Holloway's eyes swept over the bikers with contempt. Criminals, thugs, the kind of trash that decent communities sweep into the gutter. We prefer the term family, but I can see how you might confuse the two. Holloway's gaze landed on Lily. And you must be the Morgan girl, the one who's been causing all this trouble. I haven't caused any trouble. Lily forced herself to meet his eyes. Your son has. My son is a star athlete with a 4.0 GPA and a full scholarship to Texas A&M. You are a crippled orphan with a drunk for a father and no future to speak of. Holloway's voice dripped with disdain. Do you really think anyone is going to believe you over him? I don't care what people believe. I care about what's true. The truth is whatever I say it is. That's how power works. Holloway stepped closer. And right now the truth is that you are trespassing in my territory with a gang of known criminals. That's good for 15 years minimum. We're having coffee, Brick said mildly. Last I checked, that wasn't a crime. Everything is a crime if I say it is. Holloway snapped his fingers. Sheriff, arrest them all. Womack shifted his weight. On what charges? Make something up. That's what I pay you for. The deputies began to move forward, the bikers' tensed hands going to pockets and waistbands. The air crackled with violence about to erupt. Wait. Lily's voice cut through the tension. Mr. Holloway, can I show you something? Everyone froze. Holloway raised an eyebrow. "What could you possibly show me?" Lily pulled out her phone. "This." She pressed play on a video. The sound quality was poor, but the image was clear. Trent Holloway standing in the gymnasium, knocking Lily out of her wheelchair. His words captured perfectly. "You're nothing. You have nothing. You are nothing." Holloway's face went pale. "I have 17 more just like it," Lily said quietly. 2 years of your son terrorizing me, recorded by the same classmates who laughed while they filmed. I have witnesses. I have documentation. And tomorrow morning I'm sending all of it to every news station in Texas. You're bluffing. Am I? Lily held up her phone. Watch me. She pressed send. 17 videos launched into the cloud, scheduled to hit every media outlet at 6 a.m. That's not possible. Trent stepped forward. You can't. She can't do that. I just did. Lily looked at him. You spent 2 years making me feel powerless. But I was watching. I was waiting. I was building a case. Daddy, stop her. Marcus Holloway stared at Lily with a new expression. Not contempt now. Something closer to respect. Call off the dogs, he said quietly. What? Trent's voice cracked. Daddy, I said call them off. Holloway turned to the sheriff. Everyone back to their vehicles. We're leaving. But now. The deputies retreated. Womack practically ran to his cruiser. Trent stood frozen, his perfect face twisted with disbelief. This isn't over, he spat at Lily. This isn't anywhere close to over. You're right, Lily met his eyes. It's just beginning. Marcus Holloway put his hand on his son's shoulder and steered him toward the SUV. Before he got in, he turned back to Brick. You've made an enemy tonight. I've made plenty. One more won't keep me up at night. It should. Holloway's voice was ice. Because I don't lose. Ever. And when I'm done with all of you, you'll wish you had never set foot in my town. He got into the SUV. The convoy reversed out of the parking lot and disappeared into the darkness. Brick let out a breath. Well, that was fun. Lily sat in her wheelchair, her phone still clutched in her trembling hand. She had just declared war on the most powerful man in West Texas, and for the first time in 2 years, she wasn't afraid. What happens now? She asked. Brick looked at her with something like pride. Now we find out what you're really made of. From inside the diner, Marcy's voice rang out. If you're done playing chicken, the pie's getting cold. The bikers laughed and filed back inside. Rocky pushed Lily's wheelchair toward the door. You did good, little sister. Sarah would be proud. You think so? I know so. Rocky squeezed her shoulder. You've got thunder in your heart, just like she did. Thunder in her heart. Lily liked the sound of that. But as they entered the diner, her phone buzzed one more time. Not her father this time. An unknown number. She opened the message and felt her blood run cold. It was a photo of her house. Flames pouring from the windows. Beneath it, 2 words, your move. Lily's scream tore through the diner. Brick grabbed the phone from her hand and stared at the image. His face went white, then red, then something darker than both. Rocky, get the bikes, now! What's happening? Rosa pushed through the crowd. Lily, what's wrong? My father. Lily could barely form the words. My house. They set it on fire. The diner erupted into chaos. Bikers ran for their motorcycles. Marcy was already on the phone, shouting at someone about fire trucks and ambulances. Rosa held Lily's hand, her face gray with fear. Ray might not have been inside, Rosa said. He might have been. He's always inside. Every night, drinking in his chair until he passes out. Lily's voice cracked. He never leaves that house. Brick lifted her out of the wheelchair and carried her to the sidecar. There was no time for careful transfers, no time for dignity. Her father might be burning alive while they sat in a diner eating pie. Hold on, Brick said. We're going to break every speed limit between here and there. The convoy roared into the night. Lily watched the road blur beneath her, feeling nothing but the cold certainty that she had caused this. She had pushed back against Holloway. She had sent those videos. She had thought she was being brave, but all she had done was paint a target on everyone she loved. Her father hated her. He blamed her for her mother's death. He said terrible things when he was drunk, which was always. But he was still her father. He was still the man who had taught her to ride a bike before the accident. The man who used to call her his little princess. The man who had shattered when his wife died and never found a way to put himself back together. If he died tonight, Lily would never get the chance to fix things between them. The fire trucks were already there when they arrived. The house was fully engulfed. Flames poured from every window, reaching toward the sky like angry fingers. Firefighters sprayed water that seemed to evaporate before it could do any good. "Daddy," Lily tried to throw herself out of the sidecar. "Daddy, where are you?" Brick caught her before she could fall. "Stay here. I'll find out what's happening." He ran toward the fire chief while Lily sat in the sidecar watching her childhood home burn to ashes. Every photograph of her mother, every memory, every piece of the life she used to have, all of it disappearing into smoke and flame. "Ma'am," a paramedic appeared beside her. "Are you Lily Morgan?" "Yes, my father. Is he?" "He's alive. Barely. The neighbors heard him screaming and called 911. Firefighters pulled him out through the back window." Relief hit Lily so hard she nearly vomited. "Where is he?" "On his way to Mercy General. Third-degree burns over 40% of his body. Smoke inhalation. It's bad, ma'am. You should prepare yourself." "I need to see him." "You can follow the ambulance, but I have to warn you he might not make it through the night." Brick returned his face grim. "Fire chief says it was arson. Someone doused the back porch with gasoline and lit a match." "Holloway?" "Can't prove it. Not yet." Brick crouched beside her. "But we will. I promise you that." "I don't care about proving anything. I need to see my father." They followed the ambulance to Mercy General. The hospital was 20 miles away, and Lily spent every minute of the ride praying to a God she wasn't sure she believed in anymore. "Please let him live. Please give me a chance to make things right. Please." The waiting room was cold and empty. Brick and Rocky sat on either side of Lily while the other bikers formed a perimeter outside. Nobody was getting to her without going through them first. An hour passed, then 2. A doctor finally emerged, his scrubs stained with something Lily didn't want to think about. "Miss Morgan." "Yes, how is he?" The doctor pulled up a chair and sat down. That was never a good sign. "Your father is stable for now, but the burns are extensive. We've put him in a medically induced coma to help his body heal." "When will he wake up?" "That depends on how well he responds to treatment. Could be days, could be weeks." The doctor paused. "Could be never. I have to be honest with you about that." Lily felt the tears coming, but refused to let them fall. "Not here. Not now." "Can I see him?" "For a few minutes, but I have to warn you he doesn't look like himself. The burns have changed his appearance significantly." Rocky wheeled Lily to the intensive care unit. She pushed through the door alone. Her father lay in the hospital bed, wrapped in bandages from head to toe. Machines beeped and hummed around him, keeping him alive through technology and drugs. His eyes were closed, his chest rising and falling in a rhythm that seemed too slow, too mechanical. "Daddy?" He didn't respond. Of course he didn't. Lily wheeled herself to his bedside and took his bandaged hand. It felt like holding a package instead of a person. "I'm so sorry." The tears came now, unstoppable. "I'm so sorry for everything. For the accident. For Mom. For not being the daughter you needed me to be." Silence. Just the beeping of machines. "I know you blame me. I know you think I should have died instead of her. Maybe you're right. Maybe the world would be better if I had." Lily's voice broke. "But I'm still here. And I'm going to fight for you. For both of us. For Mom." She sat with him for 10 minutes before the nurse came to take her away. As she wheeled herself back to the waiting room, her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Another message. That was just the appetizer. Imagine what happens to the people you actually care about. Lily stared at the screen. Her hands shook with rage instead of fear. "What is it?" Brick appeared beside her. "Holloway." She showed him the message. "He's threatening everyone I love." "Let him threaten." Brick's voice was ice. "Threats are just words. We deal in actions." "What kind of actions? The kind that make men like Marcus Holloway wish they had never been born." Rosa arrived at the hospital an hour later with a bag of clothes and toiletries she had gathered from her own home. "I thought you might need these," she said, handing the bag to Lily. "Your house is gone. Everything in it." "I don't care about things." Lily's voice was hollow. "I care about people. Your father is strong. He'll pull through. You don't know that." "No." Rosa sat down beside her. "But I know you, and I know Sarah. The women in your family don't give up. They don't break. They fight. What's the point of fighting every time I push back someone gets hurt? First me, then my father. Who's next?" "You, Brick, listen to me, mija." Rosa took Lily's hands. "Bullies like Holloway count on fear. They win because people are too scared to stand up. But fear is a choice. You can choose to let it control you, or you can choose to turn it into something else." "Like what?" "Like fuel." Rosa's eyes burned with an intensity Lily had never seen before. "I spent 20 years cleaning up after the Holloways, mopping their floors, emptying their trash, invisible, forgotten. But I was also watching, listening, collecting. Collecting what?" Rosa reached into her purse and pulled out a flash drive. "Everything. Financial records, emails, photographs, 20 years of dirt on the most powerful family in Texas." Lily stared at the drive. "Why didn't you use it before?" "Because I was scared. Because I had no one to stand with me. Because I thought if I kept my head down I would be safe." Rosa's voice hardened. "But safety is an illusion. The Holloways proved that tonight. They'll destroy anyone who threatens them, whether you fight back or not. So you might as well fight." Brick leaned forward. "What's on that drive? Holloway Oil has been exploiting undocumented workers for decades, paying them pennies, housing them in conditions you wouldn't keep animals in. When they complain, they disappear." Rosa's eyes went dark. "My brother was one of them, 22 years ago. He came to work for Holloway, and he never came home. You think they killed him?" "I know they did. I just can't prove it." Rosa pressed the flash drive into Lily's hand. "But maybe with this we can prove everything else. And maybe that will be enough to bring them down." The next morning, Lily sat in the hospital chapel while Rocky stood guard outside. She hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw flames. Her house burning. Her father screaming. the life she used to know turning to ashes. Her phone buzzed. A news alert. Local teen goes viral bullying videos expose football star's cruelty. Lily opened the article and felt her heart stop. The videos she had sent were everywhere. Every major news outlet in Texas had picked up the story. The clip of Trent knocking her out of her wheelchair had been viewed over 2 million times in 12 hours. And the comments, thousands of them. This is disgusting. That kid should be in jail. Where are the parents? Where are the teachers? I went to school with Trent Holloway. He did the same thing to me. I was too scared to speak up. That last comment had hundreds of replies. More people coming forward. More stories of Trent's cruelty. A decade of abuse, hidden and silenced, and finally exposed. Brick found her still staring at her phone. "You've started something." "I didn't mean to. I just wanted him to leave me alone." "Too late for that now. You're a symbol." Brick sat down beside her. People are looking at you and seeing someone who fought back. Someone who refused to be silenced. That's powerful. It doesn't feel powerful. It feels terrifying. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. Brick pulled out his own phone. "I've been doing some digging. Rose's flash drive contains financial records going back 15 years, wire transfers to offshore accounts, shell companies, money laundering on a scale that would make the cartels jealous. Can we use it? We can. But we need to be smart about it. Holloway has lawyers who can bury evidence and judges who can throw out cases. If we go public too soon, we lose our leverage. So what do? We build a coalition, find other people he's hurt, get them to come forward together. There's strength in numbers." Lily thought about the comments under her video. All those people with stories like hers. All those victims waiting for someone to give them permission to speak. "How do we find them? We don't have to." Brick smiled. "They're already finding us." By noon, the hospital waiting room had become a command center. 17 people had shown up in the last 3 hours, all of them with stories about the Holloways. Former employees who had been cheated out of wages. Business owners who had been forced to sell their properties at a fraction of their value. Parents whose children had been bullied by Trent for years. And then there was Madison Clark. Trent's girlfriend walked through the door looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her designer clothes were wrinkled, her perfect makeup streaked with tears. "I need to talk to Lily Morgan." Rocky moved to block her. "You're not welcome here." "Please," Madison's voice cracked. "I know what you think of me. I know I stood by while Trent did terrible things, but I was scared. You have no idea what he's capable of." Lily wheeled herself forward. "Let her through." "Are you sure?" "No, but I'm going to hear what she has to say." Madison sat down across from Lily, her hands trembling. "I didn't know it would go this far. The videos, the fire, all of it. I thought we were just having fun. You thought it was okay to torture someone because they're in a wheelchair. I thought it was okay because everyone said it was." Madison's eyes filled with tears. "My whole life I've been told that the Holloways are the most important family in this town, that what they say goes, that you don't cross them ever. And you believed that I had to. My father works for Holloway Oil. If I made Trent angry, my whole family would suffer." Madison shuddered. "You don't know what he's like when he's angry. The things he says, the things he does." Lily studied the girl in front of her. She saw the fear beneath the perfect facade, the desperation of someone who had been trapped in a gilded cage her whole life. "What do you want, Madison? I want out. I want to tell the truth about what Trent has done, not just to you, to everyone." Madison reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. "I have videos too. Things I recorded in case I ever needed protection, things he doesn't know exist." "What kind of things?" Madison scrolled through her phone and pressed play. The video showed Trent in his bedroom ranting to the camera like he was filming a confession. "That cripple thinks she can embarrass me. I'm going to destroy her. I'm going to burn everything she has, and when she's got nothing left, I'm going to make her watch while I finish the job." Lily's blood ran cold. "He recorded himself threatening to burn my house down. He does this all the time, films himself talking about his plans. He thinks he's untouchable." Madison paused the video. "There's more, a lot more. Videos of him admitting to things that would put him in prison for 20 years. Why are you showing me this? Because I want it to end. I want to be free of him." Madison looked Lily in the eyes. "And because someone has to pay for what happened to your father." Brick appeared at Lily's shoulder. "This changes everything. It's not enough." Lily shook her head. "He's a minor. His father's lawyers will get the confession thrown out. They'll say he was joking or that I manipulated Madison into giving it to me." "Then we need more." Brick turned to the crowd of people who had gathered. "Everyone who has a story about the Holloways, I want to hear it. Everyone who has evidence, I want to see it. We're going to build a case so airtight that not even God himself could get them off." The next 6 hours were a blur of testimonies and documents and tearful confessions. A former Holloway oil foreman named Gene Dalton described how he had been ordered to dump toxic waste in the groundwater near a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. When he refused, he was fired and blacklisted from every oil company in Texas. A school teacher named Margaret Wu revealed that Trent had cheated on his SATs and that Principal Harrison had covered it up in exchange for a new gymnasium. A nurse named Carol Simmons admitted that Mercy General had been pressured to falsify medical records for Holloway employees who had been injured on the job, denying them workers' compensation. And then, just when Lily thought she had heard everything, a young man walked through the door. He was about 20 years old, thin and pale, with a scar running down the side of his face. He walked with a limp that matched the rhythm of Lily's own damaged body. "My name is Danny Parker," he said. 3 years ago, Trent Holloway ran me down with his truck, on purpose, because I told a girl he liked that he had given me a black eye for looking at him wrong." The room went silent. "I was in the hospital for 6 months, lost my scholarship, lost my future." Danny's voice shook with barely contained rage. "Holloway Sr. paid my medical bills and made me sign an NDA. Told me if I ever spoke about what happened, he would destroy my family." "Why are you speaking now?" Lily asked. "Because I saw your videos. I saw you stand up to him, and I realized that I've been hiding for 3 years while he kept hurting people." Danny met her eyes. "I'm done hiding. Whatever happens next, I'm with you." By sunset, they had collected testimony from 37 witnesses and evidence of over a dozen crimes ranging from assault to money laundering to potential murder. Rosa's flash drive had been copied and distributed to multiple locations. Madison's videos had been uploaded to secure cloud servers. Every piece of evidence was now in the hands of people the Holloways couldn't touch. Brick called a meeting in the hospital cafeteria. "We have enough to bring them down. The question is how we do it." "Federal prosecutors," Gene Dalton suggested. "The state is too corrupt. Holloway owns everyone from the governor on down. The FBI has field offices in Dallas and Houston. I know people who can get this evidence in front of the right eyes." "How long will that take?" Lily asked. "Weeks, maybe months. Federal investigations move slow." "My father might not have weeks or months." Lily's voice hardened. "And neither do I. Holloway is going to retaliate. Soon. We need to move faster." "There's another way." Rocky spoke up from the back of the room. "We go public. Everything. All at once. National media, social media. Make it impossible to ignore." "That's risky," Brick said. Once it's out there, we lose control of the narrative. We never had control. Holloway has controlled the narrative in this town for 50 years. It's time to change that. Lily thought about her mother. Wild Sarah. The woman who had stared down a crooked sheriff and made him cry. The woman who had died protecting her daughter from harm. Do it, she said. All of it. Tonight. The story broke at 11 p.m. Every major network led with the same footage, Trent Holloway's confession video, followed by testimony from Danny Parker, followed by documents showing decades of corruption at the highest levels of Holloway oil. By midnight, the hashtag #Justice for Lily was trending worldwide. By 2 a.m., the FBI had announced it was opening an investigation into Marcus Holloway Sr. By 4 a.m., the Texas Attorney General had issued a statement calling for a grand jury, and at 5:17 a.m., Lily's phone rang with a number she didn't recognize. Hello? Is this Lily Morgan? The voice was female, professional, familiar somehow. Yes. Who is this? My name is Barbara Walsh. I'm an investigative journalist with the New York Times. I've been following your story, and I think there's something you need to know. What? The fire at your house wasn't the first. 17 years ago, another family in Ridgemont had their home burned down after they challenged Marcus Holloway. A mother and father died in that fire. Their teenage daughter survived. Lily's heart stopped. Who was it? A family named Davidson. The daughter's name was Sarah. The phone slipped from Lily's fingers. Her mother's house. Her mother's parents, the grandparents she had never known. They hadn't died before she was born. They had been murdered, and Marcus Holloway had killed them. Brick caught her before she hit the floor. Lily, look at me. But Lily couldn't look at anything. The world had tilted sideways and refused to right itself. Her grandparents. Murdered. By the same man who had just burned down her house. Did you know? Her voice came out raw, broken. Did you know he killed them? Brick's face told her everything. The guilt. The grief. The rage that had been simmering for 17 years. I suspected. We all did. But we could never prove it. Why didn't you tell me? Because your mother made me swear. She said if you ever found out, you'd do something stupid, something that would get you killed. Brick's voice cracked. She was trying to protect you. Same as always. Protect me from what? The truth. From him. From what he's capable of. Brick pulled her close. Sarah watched her parents burn Lily. She was 16 years old. She barely made it out alive. That's when she came to us. That's when she became Wild Sarah. Not because she wanted to be an outlaw. Because she wanted to survive. Lily's mind raced through everything she thought she knew about her mother. The quiet woman who made casseroles. The teacher who graded papers at the kitchen table. The gentle soul who sang lullabies and never raised her voice. All of it was a mask. A costume worn by a woman who had witnessed her parents' murder and spent her whole life running from the man who did it. Why did she come back to Texas, to Ridgemont? She thought it was safe. Holloway had moved on, built his empire, forgot about the Davidsons. Brick shook his head. She was wrong. The car crash. Lily felt the truth clicking into place like pieces of a puzzle she hadn't known she was solving. It wasn't an accident, was it? We don't know for sure, but the truck that hit you both was never found. The driver was never identified, and Marcus Holloway's son started targeting you the moment you returned to school. He's been trying to finish what his father started. That's what we believe. Lily sat in her wheelchair, feeling the weight of 17 years of secrets crushing down on her. Her mother had died to protect her. Her grandparents had died because they challenged a monster. And now that monster was coming for her. Where is Barbara Walsh? The journalist. On her way here. She's been investigating Holloway for years. She's got files you won't believe. I need to see them. All of them. Barbara Walsh arrived at the hospital 2 hours later with 3 boxes of documents and a look on her face that said she had been waiting for this moment her entire career. I've been chasing Marcus Holloway since 2008, she said, spreading papers across the cafeteria table. He's got his fingers in everything. Oil, real estate, politics. But he started with fire. What do you mean? Before Holloway Oil became the empire it is today, Marcus was a nobody, a small-time operator with a failing drilling company. Then, in 1997, a competitor named Davidson Petroleum was destroyed when their headquarters caught fire. The owners died. Their assets were sold at auction. And guess who bought them for pennies on the dollar? Marcus Holloway. He built his entire fortune on the ashes of your grandparents' company. Barbara pulled out a photograph. This is your grandmother, Eleanor Davidson. She was a petroleum engineer when that was almost unheard of for a woman. She developed a new drilling technique that would have revolutionized the industry. Lily stared at the photograph. She saw her mother's eyes looking back at her. Her own eyes. Holloway tried to buy the patent. Eleanor refused. 2 months later, she was dead. And nobody investigated. Plenty of people investigated. Sheriff's Department, State Police, even the FBI took a look. Barbara's voice hardened. They all concluded it was an accident. Faulty wiring. Tragic coincidence. Holloway paid them off. Holloway owned them, same way he owns everyone in this town. Barbara leaned forward. But here's the thing about owning people. They resent it. They wait for their moment. And when they see someone brave enough to stand up, they start to talk. Who's talking? Everyone. Barbara smiled. Since your videos went viral, I've received 47 calls from people with information about Holloway. Former employees, former partners, former friends. They've been waiting for someone to break the silence. You did that, Lily. Brick's phone buzzed. He answered, listened, and his face went pale. Turn on the news, now. Rocky grabbed the remote from behind the counter and switched on the television mounted on the wall. Marcus Holloway's face filled the screen. He stood at a podium surrounded by lawyers, looking like a man who still believed he could talk his way out of anything. These accusations are baseless and defamatory. My family has served this community for 3 generations. We have created jobs, funded schools, built hospitals, and now we are being attacked by a mentally disturbed teenager and a gang of criminals. He's playing the victim, Rocky muttered. Classic. The videos circulating online have been manipulated and taken out of context. My son is a good boy, a star athlete, a leader. He would never intentionally harm anyone, let alone a disabled classmate. Disabled classmate. Lily felt her hands clench into fists. He can't even say my name. I am calling on the good people of Ridgemont to see through this coordinated attack, to stand with our family as we have always stood with this community, and to reject the lies being spread by outside agitators who want to tear down everything we have built together. The press conference ended. Reporters shouted questions that went unanswered. Holloway's lawyers hustled him toward a waiting car. He thinks he can still win this, Barbara said. He thinks his money can make it all go away. Can it? Not this time. The FBI is already on the ground. A federal grand jury has been convened, and I'm publishing a 12,000-word investigation in tomorrow's New York Times that's going to blow this thing wide open. Lily looked at the screen at the empty podium where Marcus Holloway had just lied to the world. It's not enough. What do you mean? All of this, the investigation, the articles, the grand jury, it's happening behind closed doors, in courtrooms and newsrooms. The people of this town won't see it. They'll just hear Holloway's version. They'll believe what he tells them to believe. So what do you suggest? A town hall meeting. Tonight. Open to everyone. Let the people hear the truth for themselves. Barbara exchanged looks with Brick. That's incredibly risky. Holloway will pack the room with supporters. He'll try to turn it into a circus. Let him try. I'm done hiding. I'm done letting him control the narrative. Lily straightened in her wheelchair. My mother spent her whole life running from this man. I'm not going to run. The word spread through Ridgemont like wildfire. By noon, the community center was standing room only. News vans from 3 states lined the parking lot. Social media was exploding with live updates from people who had driven hours just to witness what was about to happen. Lily sat backstage with Brick and Rosa trying to calm her racing heart. You don't have to do this, Brick said. Barbara's article will do most of the work. You've already done more than anyone could have asked. I have to do this. For my mother. For my grandparents. For everyone Holloway has ever hurt. Rosa took her hand. Your mama would be so proud of you, mija. So proud. I just hope I don't mess it up. You won't? Brick crouched down so he was eye level with her. You've got thunder in your heart, remember. Let them hear it. The mayor of Ridgemont took the stage and tried to call the meeting to order, but nobody was listening to him. The crowd was too angry, too divided, too ready for a fight. Marcus Holloway sat in the front row with his lawyers, his expression a mask of calm superiority. Trent sat beside him, looking like he wanted to be anywhere else on earth. Lily wheeled herself to the front of the room. The crowd fell silent. My name is Lily Morgan. 2 years ago, my mother died in a car crash that I survived. I've been in this wheelchair ever since. And for 2 years, I've been bullied, humiliated, and terrorized by the young man sitting in the front row. She pointed at Trent. He flinched. I'm not here to ask for sympathy. I'm not here to ask for pity. I'm here to tell you the truth about what's been happening in this town. Not just to me, to all of us. This is outrageous. One of Holloway's lawyers jumped to his feet. This girl has no right to make accusations without evidence. I have evidence. Lily pulled out her phone. I have 17 videos of Trent Holloway assaulting me. I have testimony from 37 witnesses who have been victimized by this family. And I have documentation proving that Marcus Holloway built his entire fortune on murder. The room erupted. Holloway's supporters shouted denials. Other voices shouted them down. The mayor banged his gavel and accomplished nothing. Let her speak! The voice cut through the chaos. Danny Parker stood up, his scarred face visible to everyone. I was run down by Trent Holloway 3 years ago. He left me for dead. And his father paid me to keep my mouth shut. I'm done being quiet. Let her speak. More voices joined in. Jean Dalton, the former foreman. Margaret Wu, the teacher. Carol Simmons, the nurse. One by one they stood up. One by one they demanded to be heard. Marcus Holloway's face had gone from calm to furious. He grabbed his son's arm and started pushing toward the exit. You're not going anywhere. Brick blocked the door, his massive frame filling the entire doorway. Behind him, 17 Hell's Angels formed a wall of leather and muscle. This is false imprisonment. I'll have you all arrested. Go ahead and try. Brick smiled. The sheriff's busy right now. Something about a federal indictment. Holloway's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, and his face went white. What is it, Daddy? Trent's voice had gone high and scared. What's happening? Shut up. Holloway shoved his son toward the lawyers. Get him out of here, now. I'm afraid that's not possible. A new voice from the back of the room. A woman in a dark suit flanked by 4 men with FBI badges clearly visible. Marcus Holloway, you're under arrest for money laundering, fraud, and conspiracy to commit murder. The room exploded again. But this time it was different. This time the anger had a direction. You can't do this. Holloway struggled as the agents handcuffed him. I built this town. I own this town. You owned this town, Barbara Walsh said, her camera already rolling. Past tense. And Trent Holloway. The FBI agent turned to the young man cowering behind his lawyers. You're under arrest for assault, arson, and attempted murder. No. Trent tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The agents caught him before he made it 3 steps. This is her fault. All of this is her fault. He pointed at Lily, his face twisted with hate. You think you've won. You think this is over. My father has friends. Powerful friends. They'll get us out, and then what? Lily wheeled herself forward until she was face to face with the boy who had tormented her for 2 years. What are you going to do? Trent, knock me out of my wheelchair again. Burn down another house. Kill another family. I didn't. Your father killed my grandparents. He's been trying to kill me since I was born, and you've been helping him. Lily's voice didn't waver. But you failed. Both of you. Because you forgot something important. What? You forgot that I'm not alone. Lily gestured to the room full of people. None of us are alone. Not anymore. The agents led Trent away. His screams echoed through the building long after he was gone. The meeting continued for another 3 hours. Person after person came forward to share their stories. Decades of abuse, corruption, and silence finally exposed. By the time it was over, the FBI had collected enough testimony to keep their investigation running for years. Lily sat in the corner, exhausted, but strangely peaceful. For the first time since the accident, she felt like she could breathe. Rosa appeared beside her with a cup of coffee. You did it, mija. You really did it. We did it. All of us. But you started it. You stood up when no one else would. Rosa's eyes filled with tears. Your mama would be so proud. I hope so. Brick walked over, his phone in his hand. Just got word from the hospital. Your father woke up. Lily's heart stopped. What? He's awake. He's asking for you. The drive to the hospital was a blur. Lily's mind raced with everything she wanted to say, everything she needed to apologize for, everything she hoped her father might finally be willing to hear. She wheeled herself into his room, alone. Ray Morgan lay in the hospital bed, bandaged and broken, but his eyes were clear. For the first time in 2 years, he looked at her without hatred, without blame, without the whiskey that had been drowning him for so long. Daddy, come here. His voice was hoarse, damaged by smoke, but it was still his voice. Still her father. Lily wheeled herself to his bedside and took his hand. I saw the news, he said. They had it on in the ICU. I saw what you did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I put you in danger. I'm sorry. Don't. His fingers tightened on hers. Don't apologize. Not to me. Not ever. But I'm the one who should be sorry. Tears spilled down his bandaged cheeks. I've been blaming you for 2 years, saying terrible things, making you feel like you should have died instead of your mother. You were hurting. That's not an excuse. There's no excuse for what I did to you. Ray drew a shaking breath. When I was in that fire, when I thought I was going to die, I had one thought, one regret. I never told you that I love you, that I'm proud of you, that your mother would be so proud of the woman you're becoming. Lily couldn't hold back the tears anymore. They fell freely, dropping onto her father's bandaged hand. Holloway's people came to see me. Before the fire. Ray's voice hardened. They offered me money, a lot of money. Said if I could convince you to stop, to drop everything, they would make us rich. What did you say? I told them to go to hell. Ray's eyes burned with something Lily had never seen before. Fierce protectiveness. I said I'd failed my wife, but I wasn't going to fail my daughter. Not again. Not ever. Daddy, that's when they burned the house down, to punish me, to scare you. Ray's jaw tightened. But we're not scared, are we? We're Morgans, and Morgans don't break. Lily laid her head on her father's chest and wept. 2 years of grief, 2 years of loneliness, 2 years of feeling like she had lost both parents in that crash. But she hadn't lost him. Not completely. He was still in there, buried under the pain and the whiskey and the guilt. And now finally he was fighting his way back to her. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, sweetheart. To the moon and back. Around the stars and home again. They stayed like that for a long time, father and daughter finally beginning to heal. When Lily finally wheeled herself out of her father's room, Brick was waiting in the hallway with a box in his hands. We found this in the wreckage of your house. The firefighters pulled it out before everything collapsed. Lily looked at the box. It was metal fireproof, blackened with soot, but still intact. What is it? Open it. Lily lifted the lid and felt her heart stop for the second time that day. Inside was a leather vest. Black, worn, covered with patches and pins. The Hells Angels insignia on the back, faded, but still visible. Wild Sarah embroidered below the skull and wings. And beneath the vest, a letter. She wrote it the day before the crash, Brick said quietly. Rosa found it in her desk after the accident. She's been keeping it safe ever since, waiting for the right moment to give it to you. Lily unfolded the paper with trembling hands. My dearest Lily, if you're reading this, then something has happened. Something I always feared might happen, and there are things you need to know. I wasn't always the woman you knew. Before your father, before you, I was someone else. Someone wild and angry and afraid. I ran with the Hells Angels because I had nowhere else to go, because they were the only family I had left after Holloway took everything from me. I left that life because I wanted something different for you. A normal childhood. A safe world. A future without fear. But I was wrong about something important. I thought I could protect you by hiding the truth, by pretending to be someone I wasn't, by hoping that the past would stay buried. The past never stays buried. It always comes back. If you're reading this, then it has come back for you. And you need to know that you're not alone. You have family. Real family. People who will fight for you and die for you and never ever let you face the darkness alone. Find Brick. Find the club. Tell them who you are. And remember this. You have thunder in your heart. The same thunder that kept me alive when I wanted to die. The same thunder that helped me survive when everything seemed hopeless. Don't let anyone silence it. Don't let anyone convince you to be quiet. Be loud. Be visible. Be unapologetically yourself. And know that wherever I am, I love you. To the moon and back. Around the stars and home again. Forever. Mom. Lily clutched the letter to her chest and wept. Her mother had known. Had always known that this day might come. Had prepared for it in the only way she could. And even in death, Sarah Morgan was still protecting her daughter. She knew, Lily whispered. She knew Holloway would come for me eventually. She knew. Brick put his hand on her shoulder. That's why she made us promise to watch over you. To be ready. Just in case. Why didn't she just tell me why all the secrets? Because she wanted you to have a choice. She wanted you to be able to choose your own path, not inherit hers. Brick's voice was thick with emotion. But she also knew that if you were ever forced to fight, you would need to know the truth. About her. About us. About who you really are. Lily looked at the vest in her lap. Her mother's vest. The armor of a woman who had faced down monsters and survived. "I'm not her," Lily said quietly. "I can't ride a motorcycle. I can't fight with my fists. I can't do any of the things she did." "You already have." Brick crouched down beside her. "You stood up to the most powerful man in Texas. You inspired an entire town to find their courage. You brought down an empire with nothing but the truth." He gestured to the vest. "That's not just a piece of leather, Lily. It's a symbol. It means you're part of something bigger than yourself. It means you have a family that will never abandon you. It means you are loved unconditionally and forever." Lily ran her fingers over the worn leather. She could almost feel her mother's presence, her warmth, her fierce and unconditional love. "What happens now? Now we finish what you started." Brick stood up. "Holloway's in custody, but he's got lawyers working around the clock. The fight isn't over yet." "I know. Are you ready?" Lily looked at her mother's vest, at the letter in her hand, at the family surrounding her ready to fight by her side. "Yeah," she said. "I'm ready." The trial lasted 3 weeks. Every day, Lily wheeled herself into the federal courthouse and sat in the front row watching as the empire Marcus Holloway had built over 50 years collapsed piece by piece. Witnesses took the stand and told their stories. Documents were entered into evidence. Videos played on screens while the jury watched in horror. And through it all, Marcus Holloway sat at the defense table with his lawyers, his face growing more haggard with each passing day. On the final day of testimony, the prosecutor called Lily to the stand. "State your name for the record." "Lily Morgan." "Miss Morgan, can you describe your relationship with the defendant's son, Trent Holloway?" Lily looked at the jury. 12 ordinary people. Teachers and mechanics and nurses and farmers. People who had probably never thought much about bullying or disability or the way power corrupts. Trent Holloway made my life a living hell for 2 years. He called me names. He stole my money. He knocked me out of my wheelchair in front of the entire school. And when I finally stood up to him, his father burned down my house with my father inside. Objection. The defense attorney jumped to his feet. "There's no direct evidence linking my client to the fire." Sustained. The witness will limit her testimony to facts she directly observed. Lily took a breath. "I can only tell you what I know, what I lived through, what I survived." The prosecutor nodded. "Please continue." "My mother died protecting me. I didn't know why for a long time. I thought it was just a car accident. Random. Meaningless." Lily's voice strengthened. "But it wasn't random. My mother spent her whole life running from Marcus Holloway. He killed her parents when she was 16 years old. He's been trying to finish the job ever since." Objection. Overruled. The witness may state her understanding of events. Lily turned to face Holloway directly. For the first time in weeks, his mask slipped. She saw the rage underneath, the hatred, the desperate fear of a man who had finally run out of power. "You killed my grandmother. You killed my grandfather. You killed my mother." Lily's voice didn't waver. "But you didn't kill me. And you never will." The courtroom fell silent. When the verdict came, Lily was holding her father's hand. "On the count of conspiracy to commit murder, we the jury find the defendant guilty." Ray squeezed her fingers so hard it hurt. On the count of money laundering, we find the defendant guilty. Rocky let out a breath she had been holding. On the count of arson resulting in bodily harm, we find the defendant guilty. Brick closed his eyes and whispered something that might have been a prayer. On all remaining counts, we find the defendant guilty. The courtroom erupted. Holloway's lawyers demanded a mistrial. His supporters shouted in outrage. But it was over. After 50 years of terror, Marcus Holloway was finally going to prison. The judge banged his gavel. Marcus Holloway, you are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. May God have mercy on your soul, because this court has none. Federal marshals led Holloway away in handcuffs. As he passed Lily's row, he stopped and stared at her with eyes full of poison. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Lily met his gaze. You're done. Your son is done. Your legacy is done. And my family will be here long after everyone has forgotten your name. Holloway opened his mouth to respond, but the marshals shoved him forward. The last thing Lily saw was his back disappearing through the courtroom doors. She never saw him again. Trent's trial was shorter. The evidence was overwhelming. The confession videos, the testimony from Danny Parker and a dozen other victims, the forensic proof linking his phone to the text messages that had threatened Lily's life. He was convicted on 7 counts and sentenced to 25 years in state prison. His football scholarship was revoked. His future was gone. Everything he had been promised since birth stripped away in an instant. As the bailiffs let him out, Trent turned to look at Lily one last time. I hope you're happy. I'm not happy. Lily shook her head. I'm just done being afraid of you. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters and cameras, but Lily barely noticed them. She was looking at the sky, clear and blue and endless. How do you feel? Barbara Walsh appeared beside her with a microphone. I feel like I can breathe for the first time in 2 years. What's next for you? I don't know yet, but whatever it is, I'm going to face it on my own terms. Lily smiled. No more hiding. No more running. Just living. She wheeled herself down the ramp while the cameras flashed and the questions flew. None of it mattered anymore. She had done what she came to do. Now it was time to heal. The cemetery was quiet in the morning light. Lily wheeled herself along the gravel path past rows of headstones until she reached the one she was looking for. Sarah Morgan. Beloved wife, mother, and daughter. The dates seemed too close together, a life cut short before its time. But now there were 2 new headstones beside it. Eleanor Davidson and Robert Davidson. Lily's grandparents finally given proper recognition after 17 years of lies. Hey, Mom. Lily positioned her wheelchair in front of her mother's grave and sat in the silence for a long moment. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if any of this works the way people say it does, but I needed to come. I needed to tell you what happened. The wind rustled through the oak tree above her. We got him. Holloway. He's going to prison for the rest of his life. Your parents are going to get justice, finally. Lily pulled her mother's letter from her pocket. She had read it 100 times since Brick gave it to her, memorizing every word. You said I have thunder in my heart. I didn't believe you at first. After the accident, I felt like everything inside me had died, like I was just going through the motions of being alive without actually living. She traced her fingers over her mother's name, carved in stone. But you were right. The thunder was there all along. I just had to get angry enough to hear it. A tear slid down her cheek. I wish you were here. I wish you could have seen me stand up in that courtroom. I wish you could have met Brick and Rocky and all the others. Your family. Our family." She pulled her mother's leather vest from her lap. She had been carrying it everywhere since the trial ended, unable to let it go. "I'm not going to hide anymore, Mom. I'm not going to apologize for surviving. I'm going to be loud and visible and inconvenient. Everything you were afraid to be." She slipped the vest on over her jacket. It fit perfectly, like it had been waiting for her all along. "Because you were right about me. I do have thunder in my heart, and I'm done letting anyone convince me to be quiet." The wind picked up swirling leaves around her wheelchair. For a moment, just a moment, Lily could have sworn she heard her mother's voice, singing an old country song about wild hearts and open roads. "I love you, Mom. To the moon and back." She sat with the silence for a long time. Then Brick appeared at her shoulder, his hand warm and steady. "Ready?" Lily took one last look at her mother's grave, at the name carved in marble, at the dates that represented a life lived fully, even when that fullness had to be hidden. "Yeah, I'm ready." They made their way back to the motorcycles. The sun was rising now, painting the Texas sky in shades of gold and pink. "What happens now?" Lily asked, as Brick helped her into the sidecar. "Now you live." Brick climbed onto his Harley. "You go to school, make friends, fall in love, make mistakes, all the things your mother wanted for you. Will I see you again? Little sister, you're stuck with me now." Brick smiled. "Family doesn't disappear. We're going to be right here, every step of the way." The engines roared to life. 18 motorcycles fell into formation around Lily's sidecar. They rode through Ridgemont as the town was waking up. People stopped on the sidewalks to watch them pass. Some waved. Others just stared. But they weren't looking at the bikers anymore. They were looking at her. The girl in the wheelchair. The girl who had stood up to power. The girl who had found her voice and used it to change everything. Lily sat up straighter in the sidecar. For so long she had wanted to be invisible, to disappear into the background where no one could see her, judge her, hurt her. But invisibility was just another word for hiding. And she was done hiding. They pulled up outside her father's hospital room. Ray stood at the window watching. His bandages were mostly gone now, revealing scars that would never fully heal. But his eyes were clear, his posture straight. He looked like a man trying very hard to be better. Brick cut his engine and turned to Lily. "One more thing." He reached into his saddlebag and pulled out a small box. "This was your grandmother's. Your mother kept it hidden all these years, waiting for the right moment to give it to you." Lily opened the box and felt her breath catch. A ring. Simple gold band with a single small diamond. Worn and old and beautiful. Eleanor wore it every day of her marriage. She gave it to Sarah the night before the fire. Told her to keep it safe. To pass it on to her own daughter someday. Lily slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. "Thank you." The words felt inadequate for everything he had given her. For all of it. "Don't thank me. Just live." Brick's eyes glistened. Really live. That's all Sarah would have wanted. He pulled her into a fierce hug. "I'll be back next week. We're going to teach you to work on engines." "I can't exactly ride a motorcycle." Lily laughed through her tears. "Not yet." Brick grinned. "But we're working on that too." He climbed back on his Harley. The other bikers revved their engines in farewell. "Remember what I told you. You're not alone anymore. You've got family, and family fights for each other." The motorcycles roared away, disappearing into the morning light. Lily watched until the last taillight vanished. Then she turned toward the hospital. Ray was waiting at the entrance, a cane in one hand and hope in his eyes. "You okay, sweetheart?" "Yeah, Dad." Lily wheeled herself toward him. "I think I actually am." They went inside together. Ray walked slowly, still healing, still learning to trust his damaged body. Lily wheeled beside him, matching his pace. "The doctors say I can go home next week," Ray said, "except we don't have a home to go to." "We'll find one. Brick said the club has connections. They can help us get back on our feet." "I don't need charity." "It's not charity. It's family helping family." Lily reached out and took his hand. "That's what Mom would have wanted." Ray stopped walking. He stood in the middle of the hospital corridor, tears streaming down his scarred face. "I wasted so much time. Blaming you, pushing you away, drowning in whiskey because I was too weak to face the truth. Dad, your mother would be ashamed of me. She spent her whole life protecting you, and I spent 2 years making everything worse." "She wouldn't be ashamed." Lily squeezed his fingers. "She would be proud that you're trying to be better. That's all any of us can do." "I don't deserve you." "Maybe not," Lily smiled. "But you've got me anyway. So you better get used to it." They continued down the corridor together. A father learning to walk again. A daughter who had learned to fight. Both of them broken in different ways. Both of them finally ready to heal. 3 months later, Lily stood at a podium in the Ridgemont High School gymnasium. The same gymnasium where Trent Holloway had knocked her out of her wheelchair. The same gymnasium where 800 students had watched her humiliation and done nothing. But today was different. Today the gymnasium was packed with students and parents and teachers, all of them gathered to hear her speak. The anti-bullying program that bore her mother's name was being officially launched. And Lily Morgan was the keynote speaker. "I used to hate this room," she began. "I used to have nightmares about what happened here. The laughter, the cameras, the way everyone just watched." She paused, letting the words sink in. "But I'm not here to talk about what happened to me. I'm here to talk about what happens every day in schools all across this country. Kids who are different, kids who are vulnerable, kids who are targeted simply because they're easy targets." The crowd was silent, hanging on every word. "I know what it feels like to be invisible, to be treated like you don't matter, to be told over and over that you're nothing." Lily's voice strengthened. "And I know what it feels like to finally say enough." She gestured to the banner behind her, the Sarah Morgan Foundation for Disability Rights and Anti-Bullying Advocacy. "My mother spent her life protecting people, not just me. Everyone who needed protection. She was fierce and brave, and she never backed down from a fight." Lily touched the ring on her finger. Her grandmother's ring. "I'm not my mother. I can't ride a motorcycle or stare down corrupt sheriffs or any of the things she could do. But I can do this. I can stand here and tell you that every single person in this room matters. That every single person deserves to be treated with dignity. That no one should ever have to feel the way I felt in this gymnasium 3 months ago." A girl in the front row was crying. Lily recognized her. Madison Clark. The girl who had finally found the courage to do the right thing. If you're being bullied, you're not alone. If you're watching someone else be bullied, you have the power to stop it. And if you're the one doing the bullying, I want you to understand something. Lily looked around the room, meeting eyes with as many students as she could. The people you hurt don't forget. The wounds you inflict don't heal. And someday when you're older and wiser and looking back on your life, you're going to have to live with what you did. The question is, what kind of person do you want to be? The gymnasium erupted in applause. Students rose to their feet. Teachers wiped tears from their eyes. Even Principal Harrison, who had been replaced after the scandal, was clapping from his seat in the back. But Lily wasn't done. One more thing. She held up her phone. The videos I took of what happened to me have been viewed over 50 million times. 50 million people watched a girl in a wheelchair get knocked to the ground. But what matters isn't what those people saw, it's what they did next. She pressed play on a compilation video. Images flashed across the screen. Anti-bullying rallies in schools across America, disability rights protests in state capitals, fundraising campaigns that had raised millions of dollars for victims of bullying. You did this. All of you. Everyone who shared my story. Everyone who refused to look away. Everyone who said enough is enough. Lily's voice cracked with emotion. I couldn't have done any of this alone. None of us can. That's the point. She straightened in her wheelchair. My mother used to say I have thunder in my heart. For a long time I didn't know what that meant. But I think I understand now. Thunder isn't just one voice. It's 1,000 voices, 1,000,000 voices. All of them speaking together, demanding to be heard. She looked out at the crowd of young faces, each one carrying their own struggles, their own pain, their own potential for courage. Be thunder, be loud, be visible, be unapologetically yourself, and never ever let anyone convince you that you don't matter. Because you do. Every single one of you matters. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. After the ceremony, Lily found herself alone in the hallway outside the gymnasium. Rosa appeared beside her, carrying 2 cups of coffee. That was beautiful, mija. Your mama would have been so proud. I kept waiting for my voice to shake. It didn't. Because you weren't speaking from fear anymore. Rosa handed her a cup. You were speaking from love. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching students file out of the gymnasium. Many of them stopped to thank Lily. Some of them shared their own stories. A few just squeezed her hand and walked on, no words necessary. What will you do now? Rosa asked. College, I think. I got accepted to 3 schools, still deciding. And the foundation? It'll keep running. Barbara Walsh is on the board. Brick's handling the fundraising. We've already helped over 200 families pay for disability accommodations their insurance wouldn't cover. Rosa smiled. You've built something that will last. We built it together. All of us. The gymnasium doors opened one last time. Ray Morgan walked out, still using his cane, but moving more steadily than he had in months. There you are. He kissed the top of Lily's head. Ready to go home? Home. They had found a small house on the edge of town, nothing fancy, but it was theirs. Ray was working again part-time at the hardware store. He had been sober for 93 days. Not that anyone was counting. Yeah, Dad, I'm ready. They walked out together, father and daughter, survivor and survivor. The sky was clear and blue and endless. Lily tilted her face toward the sun and felt its warmth on her skin. She thought about everything that had brought her to this moment. The accident, the wheelchair, the bullying, the fire, the trial, the victory. She thought about her mother, Wild Sarah, the woman who had faced down monsters and died protecting her daughter. She thought about her grandparents, Eleanor and Robert, the couple who had been murdered for daring to challenge a powerful man. She thought about Brick and Rocky and all the Hells Angels who had become her family. And she thought about herself. Lily Morgan, the girl nobody wanted to see, the girl who had refused to stay invisible. You okay, sweetheart? Ray asked. Better than okay. Lily smiled. I'm alive. Really alive. For the first time since the accident. They reached the car. Ray opened the door while Lily transferred herself from her wheelchair with practiced efficiency. She had gotten stronger in the past few months, physically and emotionally. As they drove through town, Lily saw the changes everywhere. The new anti-bullying posters in shop windows, the disability accessibility ramps being installed at the bank and the post office, the memorial plaque at the site of her grandparents' old home. Ridgemont was healing. Slowly, imperfectly, but healing nonetheless. They pulled up to their new house just as the sun was setting. Lily wheeled herself up the ramp her father had built with his own hands. Inside, the walls were covered with photographs. Her mother, young and wild, sitting on the back of a motorcycle. Her grandparents at their wedding, full of hope and love. Her father holding baby Lily in the hospital, tears of joy streaming down his face. And a new photograph taken just last week. Lily at the podium speaking to the gymnasium full of students, her mother's vest on her shoulders, her grandmother's ring on her finger. Thunder in her heart. Ray made dinner while Lily set the table. They moved around each other with the easy rhythm of two people learning to be a family again. "I got a call from Brick today," Ray said. "He wants to bring the club by this weekend. Something about teaching you to work on engines." He's been saying that for months. I think he means it this time. They're building some kind of adaptive motorcycle, something you could actually ride. Lily stopped a plate in her hand. "What?" "I told him he was crazy. He told me crazy runs in the family." Ray smiled. "I think he might be right." After dinner, Lily wheeled herself to the window. The stars were coming out one by one, scattered across the Texas sky like diamonds on velvet. The same stars her mother had watched from the back of a motorcycle decades ago. The same stars Lily would watch for decades to come. She pulled her mother's leather vest tight around her shoulders. It smelled like road dust and old memories and the ghost of a woman who had loved too hard and hidden too much, and died exactly the way she had lived, protecting the people she loved. "Hey, Mom," Lily whispered. "I made it. We made it." Ray appeared beside her, his hand on her shoulder. "You talking to her again?" "Always." Lily leaned against him. "She's always listening." They stood together at the window, father and daughter watching the stars emerge. Somewhere out there, Brick was riding through the night with his brothers and sisters. Somewhere Rosa was enjoying her retirement, finally free from the Holloway's shadow. Somewhere Madison was starting over at a new school, trying to become someone she could be proud of. And here, in this small house, on this quiet street, Lily Morgan was finally at peace. Not the peace of giving up, not the peace of surrender. The peace of someone who had fought and won, who had faced the worst and survived, who had discovered that the thunder in her heart was louder than any enemy, stronger than any fear, more powerful than any hatred. She touched the ring on her finger, her grandmother's ring. She adjusted the vest on her shoulders, her mother's vest. She looked out at the stars and felt for the first time in her life completely whole. "Dad, yeah, sweetheart. Thank you for fighting your way back, for choosing to be here." Ray's voice was thick with emotion. "Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. That's what family does." "Yeah," he squeezed her shoulder. "That's what family does." Lily Morgan watched the stars for a long time that night. She thought about all the people who had helped her along the way, all the voices that had joined her thunder, all the hearts that had beaten in rhythm with her own. She was not alone. She had never been alone. And she never would be again. Because she was Lily Morgan, she had thunder in her heart, and the whole world had finally heard it. The girl in the wheelchair who had dared to stand up, the daughter who had honored her mother's sacrifice. The survivor who had become something more. Not a victim. Not a symbol. Just a girl who refused to be silenced. And that, in the end, was everything. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below. Tell us what you would have done in that gymnasium. Have you ever found the courage to speak when everyone else stayed silent? Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us why we should never give up on each other. And remember, you don't have to be brave to stand up. You just have to be tired enough of being afraid.